The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good day, everybody. Welcome to the Benefits Trust and welcome to our, what is today, Wednesday webinar. This is the final webinar in our series for 2017. We've done, I think, close to 24 webinars in 2017 so far. So we've got, let's see, a number of people on the call. Yep, we've got close to 28 people on the call today. So we'd like to thank everybody for coming and participating today. Welcome to the Benefits Trust. A little bit of housekeeping. The Benefits Trust was established on January 1st, 1994. So just over 24 years, almost 25 years ago, we established the Benefits Trust. We're excited about our future. We're excited about what we've done in the past so far, but we're more excited about the future. One of the things that we want to talk about today is the future, certainly, and the future of benefits in Ontario and Canada, for that matter. At the end of the session today, the Benefits Trust, we're a full-service third-party benefit administration company. We work with brokers like yourself. We do not sell direct. We've made that change effective the 1st of April 2001, so quite a while ago. So we work with brokers like you, and the object of today's webinar is really to support brokers like you and give you ideas and tell you more about the flexibility that we bring to the table. At the end of the presentation today, you will receive a CE certificate for participating. You will also be receiving a very short survey, so we encourage you to participate in that survey. It's only a few questions long. Please answer those questions so we can do this better next year than we did it this year, or as I like to say, better tomorrow than we did it yesterday. And in addition to that, there's a section there on ideas on future webinar topics that you'd like to see covered. So please fill that out. You're going to get that CE certificate. You're going to get that survey. It's, again, very, very short. Fill it out, get it back to us. And in addition to that, you're also going to be signed up for our Trusted Advisor newsletter. As well as that, I'd like to mention to you, if you've got or if you're associated with an agency, we're happy to come to your office and do a lunch and learn type of thing. We'll throw a couple of pizzas on the table, and we'll do a lunch and learn and on any subject that you like. And whether it be healthcare spending accounts or ASO or flexibility or plan design or creative plan design or the technical numbers behind ASO, we can do any type of plan design that makes sense, or any type of webinar or seminar that makes sense in your office. If you've got 8 or 10 people or more, we're happy to do that. We'll come out to your office and do it. My name is Robert Crowder. I'm the president and founder of the Benefits Trust. I'm the guy on the left-hand side. Mike Ignatz is the guy on the right-hand side. Mike is busy today with a number of client meetings. So Mike is not going to be in the webinar as the moderator. My son, Robert Crowder, is going to be in the webinar, Robert Jr. He is going to be our technical support should anything go wrong, because I certainly have 2 thumbs when it comes to technical support, so he will keep us on track. I just like to put a picture to the voice, if you would. So if you have any questions, make sure you type them in the question box, and we'll do our best to answer them either offline, or we'll do our best to answer them throughout the rest of the webinar, or we'll answer them offline, certainly. The best part about webinars is they get to miss all the traffic. As weather certainly gets poor in Southern Ontario, where most of us are living and working, traffic is horrendous. I heard something recently on the news that traffic in the GTA is only second to LA as far as traffic goes. So it's an extraordinary amount of traffic. And the best part about webinars is you're sitting in the comfort of your office or the comfort of your home and home office or whatever it is, but you get to miss the traffic. But nonetheless, we take these webinars seriously, and we thank you for your time. And we want to share with you some ideas, thoughts, and sales stories with you by using some case studies. So it's important to note, and I always look at my continuing education credits that I have to get. If I get one idea out of the hour, something that just sort of tweaks, I think it's worthwhile. So we encourage you to write down ideas. I'm happy to discuss these with you after the webinar. We can set up a time that we can speak and talk about these sales ideas and how it might impact your business. Happy to do so. I've been in sales my entire life, and I just love that kind of conversation. It just gets me motivated. So any ideas, thoughts, and sales stories, we're going to share those with you. And again, if you've got any ideas, write them down, and I'd love to talk to you about them. Today's subject is simplifying group benefits with budgeted ASO, budgeted administration services only. That's what we do here at the Benefits Trust. We're a full-service third-party benefit administration company. We provide budgeted ASO plans for Canadian employers whose head offices are in Southern and Central Ontario. So what we want to do is talk about simplifying group benefits with budgeted ASO. So our goals and objectives for the next hour, or as I like to say, the next CE credit that you're going to get, our goals and objectives are quite simple. We want to do a quick review of ASO, administration services only, and what that means. And we're going to do a comparison to a traditional fully insured benefit plan. So we're going to talk about budgeted ASO in a quick review. We're going to talk about pooled benefits and where they fit in with the administration services only contract. In addition to that, we're going to talk about creative plan designs and how that works. And I think the best way to play out creative plan designs is we're going to go through 3 case studies to show you how a creative plan design with both pooled benefits and reimbursement benefits can really help a client set up a benefit strategy that works for their future. We're going to talk about service levels and the service levels that we provide to our end user clients. So we're going to do all that in the next hour. It's important to look at the market context as well. The market is absolutely enormous. If we look at the GTA, and here's just obviously a picture of Toronto with the Sky Dome or Rogers Centre and the downtown core, but that's just part of it. If we look at the entire marketplace, and if we look from the southwest, from the Niagara region up through Kitchener, Waterloo, Guelph, and taking into account all of Toronto and Markham and Vaughan and Mississauga and so on, and then all the way out to Oshawa in the south end of Barrie, the marketplace is absolutely enormous. One of the things that's interesting is I was driving along with my son the other day, Robert, who's with me right now, and he was talking about how big the marketplace is and how many businesses there are out there. And the market context that we want to talk about today is businesses really with 3 to 103 employees. That's our target market. That's where we work well. We certainly work in larger markets, but this is where we're concentrating our studies on today, if you would. And with 3 to 103 employees in that geographic location, really within an hour's drive of 400 and 401 or 400 and 407, there's 50,000 prospects. There's 50,000 businesses in this target market. So there's an awful lot of opportunity for all of us out there to be working in this marketplace and providing value to our end user clients. So before we begin about talking about what an employee benefit plan is, I just want to be crystal clear on this. We sell our services through brokers like you to your end user clients. Our comments are going to be based on end user clients, but really there's that filter, if you would, of that broker relationship that's important. But our comments are going to be based on end user client. On that note, what is an employee benefit plan? It's interesting. I had this conversation with a client, an end user client and a broker a number of years ago, probably about 6 or 8 years ago. And I remember the meeting distinctly. I don't remember the name of the company, but I remember the meeting. I remember the body language that this particular client was exhibiting. I remember the frustration level was getting high in this particular meeting. And the client was saying this. The body language is saying, this conversation is going nowhere. This is a waste of my time. Get out. And I stopped the meeting and I said, whoa, everybody stop the bus here for a moment. And I said, and I asked the question to the end user client, and I said, what is an employee benefit plan? And he looked at me like I had 2 heads, and he was saying, what are you, an idiot? Right? So he was going, an employee benefit plan is that life insurance that we have and the drug plan that we have and the health insurance and that dentist stuff that we've got, right? That's what an employee benefit plan is. And I said, no, you're incorrect. An employee benefit plan is a promise between an employer and an employee. And it was interesting because all of a sudden, and then I said that it's a promise between an employer and an employee. I don't know where it came from, but it came from, some deep, dark corner of my brain. And it said it's a promise between an employer and an employee. All of a sudden, the light bulb went off in his head and his body language changed. He was a business owner. He was the entrepreneur. He was the guy that was making the decision. He was the guy where the buck stops. And all of a sudden, that light went off in his head, and he said, geez, you're right. It's a promise that I make to my employees. I can promise whatever I want. And that's really what it is. So when we're talking about benefits, we're talking about a promise that an employer makes to an employee. And ever since that day, I've used this language, and I've used this language in many interviews. And it's interesting to see people's reaction to it. Some of them are pretty cool and collected. Yeah, I get that. And other people are saying, yeah, I'm looking at this with a new set of glasses on now. I'm looking at benefits a little bit differently. So a benefit plan is nothing more than a promise between an employer and employee, and we're dealing in that 3 to 103 marketplace. Generally speaking, you're dealing with the business owner. He's open for business or she's open for business. And businesses are a little bit different today than they might have been historically. When we look at a modern employer, here's a modern employer. The top young lady in the purple sweater. She's the CEO. She's got this terrific idea. She's not afraid to take chances. She's 30 years old or whatever age she is, and she set up this successful company. So here's the CEO and the business owner, and she's got 5 salespeople that are young and dynamic and full of life and have that young passion that exists. And they might be single, they might be spouse, they might just have one spouse. Yes, we don't live in Utah. They might be single or newly married. They may have one small child or so, but they're just starting their life. Then we've got the people down at the bottom right-hand corner that are actually doing the work that the salespeople have sold, and they're actually out there doing the work. Their needs from a benefits perspective are very different from the salespeople needs. These are skilled laborers. They're skilled workers. They're putting themselves at risk. They're up high doing things. They've got special training to be in those bucket trucks and using chainsaws and so on, potentially. Then you've got the R&D department. This is like Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. You got the R&D department, who's very different. And then you've got the marketing department. And the marketing department is out, at festivals doing what they do. And they might be university students, and they might be temporary employees. So here's this business makeup, and there might be 15 people in the organization, but there's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different distinct groups within this particular group. So what is it that this CEO wants to promise those individual groups to get the most value for the money that she is spending in this case? And that's really what benefits are all about. Instead of saying, hey, we got one size fits all because we only have 15 employees and we have to have a benefit plan, so it's going to be shit for everybody. Yeah, okay, why don't we design a benefit plan that works better? And that's really what today is all about, is understanding the ASO component of it and how insurance works, and help your clients design promises that make sense. The benefit promise often has 3 components in that promise: insurance, reimbursement, and administration. Insurance is there to protect the integrity of the promise so it continues into perpetuity. Reimbursement is just reimbursement of routine expenses that make up part of that promise. And administration is keeping that promise on side from a communication perspective. It's keeping it on side from a Revenue Canada perspective. It's keeping it on side from an employee and family perspective as well. Traditional funding versus ASO funding, what's the difference? And it's interesting, I've used this particular slide, if you would, in many different meetings. And again, coming from the end user perspective, how can we define or show what the difference is in simple terms without getting into technical mumbo jumbo that just make the client's eyes glaze over? But if you look at a client promise, again, that benefit plan, that benefit promise, if you look at that client promise on a traditional funded basis, that client promise is made up of risk charges for the insurance. It's made up of anticipated claims for the reimbursement benefits, the health and the dental and short-term disability if it's applicable. It's made up of plan operation expenses, which is the admin costs, and that equals, and when we add those 3 things together, it equals the client premiums. So it's the insurance plus the reimbursement, and they anticipate what the claims are going to be. And if you're an insurance company, you obviously want to, over time, anticipate more claims than are actually happening. And then the plan operation expenses, you want to make sure that there's enough money there to pay for the insurance company's plan operation expenses, their risk expenses, the commissions, and so on. So that equals the client premiums. On the ASO side, or the other side of the equation, you've got the same client promise, you've got that same benefit plan, you got the same risk charges because it's insurance for those risk charges, actual claims versus anticipated claims for the reimbursement. So they're paying for their claims and their claims only. Plan operation expenses are the same or less, and that equals client costs. So really the difference is that gap in the middle. It's anticipated claims versus actual claims. So really the only difference between a fully funded basis and an ASO funded basis looking into the long term is really just the timing of the payments of those claims. Anticipated claims versus actual claims. You're paying for the actual claims now, or you're paying for the anticipated claims as they move forward in the future. So as I like to say, when you go to Las Vegas, the house wins 80% of the time. Maybe the Vegas will say the house wins 50% of the time, but the house certainly wins, or more than 50% of the time, but the house certainly wins. And the fact of the matter, it's the same with the insurance company. If you are an insurance company and you're setting your claims, you're going to make sure that you're setting the levels of anticipated claims. You're going to make sure that you've got enough money in there to pay for those anticipated claims and then some. So the house wins 80% of the time. So when we're dealing with entrepreneurial organizations, they often go, hold on a second, we don't have a problem paying premiums for risk insurance, but we have a problem paying premiums for routine items that you can't possibly insure. So looking at benefit plans a little bit differently, when a client, as I like to say, when a client has a short-term benefit plan outlook, look for a fully insured funding arrangement. I've been in this business. I've been a licensed life insurance agent coming up on 29 years, and it's amazing. I remember back in day one when we were talking about group insurance when I was just starting, and the rule was you couldn't shop business around. You couldn't shop it around more than once every 3 or 4 years because nobody would take you. And you know what? From that day on, everybody has always found a home for an insured plan. Somebody is always willing to buy the business. And it might be Great West Life this month, and it might be Manulife next month, and it might be Empire Life the month after that, and it might be Sun Life the month after that. But somebody's always willing to take on the benefit plan. So if the client's got a short-term outlook on their benefit plan, great, a fully insured solution is possibly the cheapest way to go. They don't care really about the plan design. They just want to buy a package. Fully insured is the way to go. If the client has a long-term benefit plan outlook and wants a creative solution, they really have a long-term outlook to their benefit plan. They have a long-term outlook to their business. ASO funding is always going to be more advantageous in the long run, without a doubt. More advantageous in the long run. So at the Benefits Trust, we help successful business owners build a better benefit plan than they can get anywhere else. So again, it's let's break this sentence down. It's helping successful business owners. There's two types of prospects: those that are successful and those that are unsuccessful. Or as I like to say, there are those that are successful business owners, and then the unsuccessful people are other people's prospects. You want to deal with successful business owners. You want to help them build. What does build mean? A customized approach. Better is exclusive. Better benefit plan than they can get anywhere else. So it's that exclusivity, or helping them build something that is exclusive, and it plays off their success. So that's what we do at the Benefits Trust. Our process is quite simple. Our process is very simple. The client makes a monthly contribution based on a billing statement that we provide them, and that billing statement has captured the promise that they are making to their employees or the different groups within their group for their respective benefit plan. They make a contribution to the Benefits Trust. Then we take that money and we send that money out to insurance premiums to various insurance companies. We send it out for life insurance, long-term disability insurance, critical illness insurance, stop loss, out-of-country insurance, wellness programs, etc. We also take some of that money and we use it for claim transactions, for health, dental, short-term disability, healthcare spending accounts, whatever that makes up the promise that the employer makes to the employee, we take and pay out claims. The third thing we use that money for is to pay out plan operation expenses, which includes administration and broker compensation. So we pay you on a monthly basis as well. So money comes in, money goes out in three different areas, and then we send the client an account balance, which includes a year-to-date monthly balance and a year-to-date balance, and also a previous year-to-date balance. You get that, and the end user client gets that as well. So it's interesting. It's a very simple process. Money comes in, money goes out for protection, money goes out for transactions, money goes out for operation expenses, and then we send the client and you a financial statement. The financial statement is quite simple. It's in 3 columns. It's current month, year-to-date cumulative, and after 12 months previous year-to-date cumulative. The date on this is December 31st, 2013. Why are we using such an old statement? Well, quite frankly, it hasn't changed because it works and works extraordinarily well. This is sent out electronically every single month, and this is just a receipt on what's happened. So looking at the statement in a little bit more detail, and this particular company, for example, has sent us $7,201.21 in this particular month of December 31st, ending to December 31st, 2013. This would match with their billing statement that they received the month before. So their life AD&D, their long-term disability, you can see the costs right there. They've paid us $7,201.21. Then we took that money and we did some things with it. We took that money and we sent it out to an insurance company for the life insurance and AD&D. We sent it out for the long-term disability. We sent it out for the stop loss. We sent it out for well, we didn't send anything out for critical illness because they don't have critical illness, the travel assist program, and so on. So we sent out $1,402.48 of the client's money to various insurance suppliers for insurance, for risk benefits. The second component, or area C, or the third component, or the second component of money going out in area C here is for claims paid. Claims, we paid $324 in dental claims in this particular example. We paid out $100 in vision care claims, $2,320.32 in drug claims, etc. So total claims that we paid were $4,109.32. Very simple for the client to understand, very simple for you to understand. And then again, the second column is year-to-date cumulative, and the third column is previous year-to-date cumulative. Then the third component here is the plan operation expenses, and it's in this particular example there were no adjustments made. The client paid $970.32 to the house, which is a combination of our administration expenses and your commissions. So when we take A, what they paid us, and we subtract from that B, C, and D, the client's got $719.09 in their account. On an ongoing basis, they've got $2,306.48 in their account. That is the client's money. If it was a deficit, that is the client's responsibility. When there's a surplus in their account, we go great. When there's a deficit in the account, we go great because the next month is going to come in. At the end of the year, being a 12-month period, when there's a renewal, the client is responsible. The client owns the surplus or is responsible for the deficit. And we can either use that money or use that money if it's a surplus to offset future expenses, or they just let it ride for future claim fluctuations. And the same thing, or we can send them a check. The same thing happens when that money is in a deficit position. We can either increase the premiums or contributions going forward to have a deficit recovery component built in, or they can reduce benefits, or they can write a check. It's as simple as that. But what this document does is it gives you a clear calculation and a clear picture on what is happening with respect to the benefit plan that they're offering. So really it comes down to, what does the client want to promise? And what does the client want to promise each group within the particular group? And, there's thousands of examples of what benefit plans, on what clients can do for their employees and what they want to promise. But really it's back to that word. It's back to that promise that an employer is making to an employee. And what is it that they want to promise? So they know it's just the cost of the insurance plus the cost of the claim plus the cost of the administration. And we've got the function in place to make sure that everybody's aware of what's going on with respect to the financial aspect of their benefit plan. So what is it that you want to promise? And as I like to say, the client has a blank, or the broker and the client, you, the broker, and the client really have a blank canvas and saying, what is it that you want to promise? We've got a huge array of pooled benefits and services available to us from multiple insurance suppliers. We've added Empire Life to this very recently. So we've got Empire Life, we've got a number of insurance companies and suppliers of services, including Rupert Case Management and Medi Resource and so on. So we've got a number of suppliers, so we can really use that plug and play approach according to the promise that's made. So for example, if a client makes a promise of a certain amount of life insurance and a certain amount of long-term disability insurance, we might be buying the life insurance from one company and the long-term disability insurance from another company. The client has the opportunity, if all of a sudden one of those rates goes out of whack for whatever particular reason, we can take that life insurance company and replace it with another life insurance solution without having to do a complete re-enrollment and move the entire case. So it's that plug and play approach on that insurance paid component that just makes it really simple to move from one carrier to another carrier when it's warranted and should it ever be warranted. But we use specialty carriers wherever we can. For example, we've got a specialty AD&D carrier. We've got a specialty stop loss and travel emergency medical travel coverage carrier in place. So we're dealing with multiple insurance suppliers. That plug and play approach works really well. With respect to reimbursement benefits, again, you can set up as many classes as you want, depending on the different groups within the group. And that example that I showed you with the modern day employer with 5 different groups within the group, they can have 5 different benefit plans within their benefit plan. They can offer everybody the same pooled benefits, but they can have different combinations of defined benefit plans and defined contribution plans as part of their benefit plan promise for the reimbursement benefits. When you think about it, we've got a traditional plan, and it's really a defined benefit type of an arrangement, and that's where the insurer control is. The insurer sets the premiums, those anticipated premiums. They set the premiums for that plan. A defined contribution plan, or more of a healthcare spending account on the other end of the spectrum, is really where the employer control comes into play. We're spending a lot of time working with brokers and end user clients and setting up hybrid plans where they're saying, hey, you know what, we need a little bit more control over our employee benefit costs. And we want to keep some aspects of the traditional plan, like the drug plan component, but we want to put more things into the hands of the employees, and we're going to put more emphasis on a healthcare spending account potentially. So we're using aspects of traditional plans and using aspects of a fully defined contribution plan and creating these hybrid types of plans. And they might have different amounts for different people within the organization, but the decision is really based upon the promise that the employer is making to the employee. So let's go over a couple of case studies, because I think that sort of demonstrates the flexibility of what it is that we're talking about here and how ASO will work to the client's advantage. So in this particular case study, a well-known Canadian organization, Ontario organization, or Toronto-centric organization. I don't know if people from North Bay know about this company, but people from Toronto certainly do. They've got 22 full-time employees, 50 part-time employees. Consumer service business, they're in the retail business, and very well-known Toronto-based company, and has been for probably 3 generations now. 4 executives in the organization, 6 employees have been there more than 10 years. 12 employees have been there less than 10 years, and they've got, interesting thing is, they've got 10 part-time employees that have been there more than 5 years. They've got 10 part-time employees that I would hazard to say have probably been there closer to 20 years. But certainly 10 of them have been there more than 5 years. So they've got this unique type of company where they've got, hey, just 22 employees are in the retail business, but a well-known Canadian, well-known Toronto brand. And these guys are making some money. They're making some serious dough. So that's what we found out. The client wants, when we were doing our discovery with the broker, the client wants a traditional plan design, but wants more flexibility in their plan design. They like certain aspects of the plan design, and they want it to be traditional. They're somewhat of a traditional company, so they want that traditional plan design, but they certainly want more flexibility. They want to be competitive in the marketplace, and they want to reward long service employees and retain part-time employees that have been with them for many years. So they want to look at their benefit plan a little bit differently, not much, but a little bit differently than they have historically. So in this particular example, we came back with a plan design that the client purchased, and they were pretty excited about it. But it was we set up an executive class with the 4 people. They were mostly family, and they had one outside hired gun that was not a family member, but was in the executive class. And the benefit plan was set up as a 100% reimbursement for the executive group. So 100% was a defined benefit plan. Everything was reimbursed at 100%, 100% based on the health and dental promise that the employer was making to the employees. All full-time employees, they have a traditional plan with 75% reimbursement. So actually, we took their plan and we actually reduced it by 5% because they had a traditional plan for everybody with 80% reimbursement, and it was pretty boring. So we took that plan and we said, hey, great, what we're going to do is we're going to knock it back a bit, and we're going to give everybody that traditional plan with 75% reimbursement. And then employees with more than 10 years of service, we're going to add a $2,000 healthcare spending account to that traditional plan. So they're going to reward those long service employees with just a little bit of a bump in a healthcare spending account that they can use. And it was interesting. There was a lot of discussion about this, whether they start it with at 10 years of service or whether they start it, phase it in over time. But we looked at the number of employees that were going to get a reduction in benefits. And there was a couple of them, but they realized that they were going to be in that 10-year plus category in a very short order, if you would. So within the next year or 2 or 3. So it really wasn't that much of a shift, but it rewarded them for staying longer. So that full-time employee with more than 10 years of service, they were going to add a $2,000 healthcare spending account to that traditional plan. As well as that, they implemented a benefit plan where they gave all part-time employees with more than 5 years of service a standalone $500 healthcare spending account. So this was a custom designed plan for this particular organization. It had that traditional component to it with a little bit more flexibility that was really important to them. We showed the tax effectiveness for the executive group. They appreciated that 100% plan is just a way for the client to pay for things they're going to pay for anyway, just in a more tax effective manner. So it was very appealing to those folks in the high tax brackets. As well as that, it showed we use the benefit plan as a tool to reward long service full-time and part-time employees. So the challenge was put in front of this particular broker. The challenge was met head on because they had a blank canvas. They were able to do some creative things and design a plan that works well for the company, both in the short term and in the long term, and most importantly, into the future. The exciting thing about this is the client chose this particular broker in this plan design. The other broker that had been with him for many years and thought quite frankly, thought his shit didn't stink. He was fired and the new broker was put in place, and this plan has been up and running for a few years now, and it's working extraordinarily well. It's working extraordinarily well for the client. Case study number 2. This is a company that's got 70 employees. They're in the sales industry. They very much have an empowerment philosophy. It's sort of that Four Seasons hotel philosophy, empowerment. The Four Seasons hotel employee can do anything they need to do to make a guest experience better. They've got the exact same philosophy. They've really got this empowerment philosophy. They got this dynamic, cool environment. And it's a great company, and I love this company. I love chatting with this guy because he's always so excited about the future. And the future in their business and the future in their industry, and they've grown this company from a few employees up to 70 employees, and they're just rocking it on all wages, or on all areas. Pardon me. 75% of the employees are paid a very small base pay and commissions. We've got people in they have people in this organization that are just salaried employees that are making over $1 million a year, and they're sitting beside someone that's making $75,000 a year. So it's pretty exciting stuff. Earnings vary widely within the group, and they've got a very, very small executive group. Very flat line. Everybody's in it for everybody, and they've got a pretty exciting company and a unique company. They had a pretty much vanilla plan in place, and it wasn't working well for them. It just didn't fit with their organization. So through a series of questions and a series of discussions, we set up a benefit plan that had $75,000 of critical illness, $250,000 of accidental death and dismemberment. And let's just stop there for a moment and talk about it. One of the things that was interesting is they had in this benefit plan, historically, they had $10,000 of life insurance. And that's the minimum that they could actually have, and they didn't want any at all. So when we found that out, we're saying this is, a benefit plan is nothing more than a promise between an employer and an employee. And if you don't want to promise life insurance, you don't have to. And it was really kind of relieving for this particular client. He finally said, thank goodness, someone's speaking the same language that I'm thinking. So in this particular case, their philosophy was they wanted to give meaningful benefits with respect to the pooled benefits. And $75,000 of critical illness insurance, and the non-evidence maximum on this case is $75,000 as well. They wanted to give everybody that $75,000 of critical illness insurance. They believed that life insurance was an individual decision. It was based on their family's needs, and it had no place in their benefit plan. $75,000 they wanted to provide to all of their employees, and I think it was more from their own peace of mind that if one of their employees got sick, with one of the big illnesses, as we all know, they were delivering the check for $75,000. They also wanted to provide a meaningful amount of AD&D instead of the matching $10,000 of AD&D. They wanted to provide a meaningful amount. The fact of the matter is their philosophy is that their employees get paid, or many of their employees get paid extraordinarily well based on their efforts. And they do a lot of crazy things. They go skiing, they go hiking, they go mountain biking, they travel a lot, and if somebody died as a result of an accident, which was really important, it's going to affect them a great deal and their families a great deal. So they wanted to give them a meaningful amount. In this case, it was $250,000 of AD&D insurance. Out of country, of course, is important. Stop loss is important to match their drug plan because they wanted to give everybody a drug plan of 90% to cover their routine drugs. So stop loss was important. And then what they did is they put in a healthcare spending account equal to 2.5% of the previous year's total earnings. So it created that flexibility to match with their cool environment and their compensation philosophy that says, hey, You eat what you kill, and your benefit plan is going to reflect that as well. So it was a great plan that was put into place. It custom fits with their compensation philosophy. All employees, including executives, have the exact same benefits, and that matches with their philosophy because there's nobody there that's, they've got a very flat executive, a very small executive team, and it's very flat, and they, don't sit in corner offices with their door shut. It's that dynamic, cool environment. They can stand up and say everybody's got the exact same benefits. The pooled benefits match the company philosophy of the critical illness and the AD&D, and they've got a 1-year waiting period for new employees for the healthcare spending account, which encourages employee commitment because they know if the new employee works hard, more money is going to go into their healthcare spending account. So it's a pretty dynamic shift and a pretty dynamic plan design. It was welcomed with open arms and very well received by the company. And I think the reason why it was so well received by the company is it met their compensation philosophy. The custom plan design that was put in place met with their compensation philosophy. And finally, they said, hey, this is cool. We have a benefit plan that works here in our environment. Next case study, they got 60 employees, and this is a case study we've been using for many years, but it's important. And actually, I was discussing this with a client yesterday, or a prospect yesterday. But they've got 60 employees. They've got a processing, logistics, and sales business. 2 generations are active in the business. The founder is 75 years old, and he's still very active every day. So this company has been around for a couple of generations, and they've got a lot of long-serving employees in this particular organization. In addition to that, they've got a very diverse skill set. They've got people from professional accountants to drivers of delivery trucks to processors of orders to professional salespeople. So you've got a wide range of salaries. You've got a diverse skill set, long-serving employees, and we're talking people that have worked there their entire life. And we've got an overage executive. And we always get weary of overage executives because are they actually providing a valuable service? Are they actually working in the organization? Or are they just hanging around? In this particular case, and the reason why I ask those questions is because it certainly affects benefits. It might be easy to sell easy to sell insurance to an overage executive, but if they claim and they're not working, there could be very big potential problems. So we always ask the question, and in this particular case, the overage executive was working every day. Even when the executive was out of town, he was still calling to the office and working every day. So what we did is we set up a benefit plan. We went back to them and set up a benefit plan after a number of discussions and research that we had done. We went back to the client and we set up a plan that have 100% executive plan for the family and the employee or a key employee. I think there's one key person in this particular organization. So it was just setting up that 100% benefit plan. Hey, we're going to take care of you. We're going to take care of your expenses. It's a tax effective way to pay for the things they're going to pay for anyway. Then we set up a traditional plan design, and we call it a bronze plan because this was designed during an Olympic year. Excuse me. We set up a traditional plan with 60% reimbursement, and it was fully funded by the employer. So regardless of what the employee was doing, they just said, "Hey, great! Everybody gets this plan, whether you want it or not. Here you go." Because a lot of people had spouses that were working in other companies, and they may have had mandatory plans as well. The idea was to set up a traditional benefit plan, but have just 60% reimbursement so they can take advantage of the coordination of benefits through others' benefit plans, as well as keeping their costs down. So it was set up in such a fashion that it was fully funded by the employer 100%. Then we implemented a silver plan, and there's a couple of other details that aren't included in this, but there's a silver plan at 80% reimbursement and a gold plan at 100% reimbursement. And the top-ups are available to all employees at their costs. And there's a set of rules associated with when they can top up and when they can move from one level to another and so on, and how long they have to stay in these particular levels. But it was designed in such a fashion that, hey, great, we're going to provide this base plan. The employer is going to provide this base plan, and if you want more, you got to pay for it. And it's as simple as that. So this benefit plan that was put into place, and again, there was only 60 employees in this organization, was tax effective for the family group. Especially out of country coverage for the owner was put into place, and that was priced separately, so it didn't affect the prices of the other group adversely. As well as that, the employees make the purchasing decision annually based on their benefit needs, and the employer's benefit budget is maintained. So here's a creative plan design that was put in place on a budgeted ASO basis that just provides that flexibility to the benefit or to the client that makes sense in their business and makes sense in their business plan. So those are three different examples that we've talked about where creative plan design on a budgeted ASO basis has been able to help the broker, in this case, retain or get new business, number one, and also make it really sticky going into the future. So it's exciting. All three of these plan designs at the time, certainly, and I don't know if they are today, were available from traditional one-size-fits-all insurers. And certainly not available with reporting. So this is where a broker was using his or her creative skills and asking the appropriate future-based questions in front of the client and coming up with designs that make sense. Service and admin. Let's talk about service and admin. What's our business? Our business here at the Benefits Press is trust, pardon me, is I promise to, I promise to, I promise to, I promise to. We keep promises that employers make to employees. If I was sitting on an airplane and someone asked what it is that I do, I would say we keep promises that employers make to employees with respect to their benefits. That's what it is that our business is. That's what it is that we do. Benefits are emotional. It's interesting when you think about benefits, we think about benefits every day, all day, because that's what we do. And you may think about benefits part of your day, but employers don't think about benefits every day. That's for sure. They only think about benefits, and employees only think about benefits when they need them. And when they need them, it's because their kid's at the dentist. And actually, my youngest son is at the dentist and orthodontist this morning. So when you're at the dentist's office, you're going there because you've got in his case, he's got a sore tooth, and I think his wisdom teeth are coming in. So we're going to have to deal with that. He's also got braces on, so we're dealing with that. But benefits are emotional because someone is putting their hands in his mouth, or you're at the doctor's office, and who knows what happens behind closed doors, right? But benefits are emotional, and especially when it involves your family. They're very emotional. You want to deal with them in an emotional way. So the service, our philosophy has been, and as long as I'm the president of this company, the service has to be timely, it has to be personable, and it has to be efficient. And all three of those things are critically important. It's got to be very timely, it's got to be efficient, and personable, I think, is the most important thing. So what makes us different? What makes us different? Well, certainly a small fish or a big fish in the small pond versus a little fish in the big pond. But what makes us different? Well, a number of things. We provide personal versus impersonal service. How do we do that? But it's personal versus impersonal service. We do that by when we do have interaction with either clients or we do have interaction with their employees, we answer the phone. It's as simple as that. It's amazing on how many comments we get from people going, oh my gosh, it's so wonderful to phone up a business and they actually answer the phone. Not many people do that anymore, but we answer the phone. We ask the member what their inquiry is about. We put them in touch with the right person. The right person asks the appropriate checking questions to make sure we're dealing with the right person from a confidentiality standpoint. And then we answer their questions. We provide full service administration solutions within our office here. So we're not farming anything out. We can answer all of the questions that a client might have. We provide those monthly financial statements to both you, the broker, the producer, and the end user client. So everybody's on side with what they're going. There aren't any surprises. We take a conservative budgeting approach as opposed to an aggressive budgeting approach. We take a conservative budgeting approach to make sure that the client's got enough money in there. We can say, hey, great, we can save you 20%, but that's bullshit. It's not going to happen. We can't predict the future. So our philosophy is taking a conservative budgeting approach to make sure that there's enough money in to cover the appropriate benefits. And the other thing is we provide industry benchmark setting service levels. Claim that comes into our office today, 98% of the claims that come into our office today are going to be paid today and out tonight. Simple as that. We have very, very quick turnaround time and have for the last 24 years. The Benefits Trust, we've got a claim app right now on your smartphone. We've got online claim submissions, pay direct drug cards, EDI dental. You can email or fax in your claim submissions. We still get a number of mailed in claims, which is amazing. And obviously direct deposit is available directly into the claimant's bank account. Benefits Trust Claim app is something that we developed a couple of years ago now. We've had great success with it. We've got many, many thousands of users using it. And it was interesting. I was at a party Friday night, and it was a reception. It was a party. It was a reception, and I happened to run into one of our clients there. And there was a few hundred people in this room, and I ran into one of our clients, and I was chatting with her and chatting with her spouse, and the four of us were chatting, and then this particular client, she introduced me to her husband, and this is Rob from the Benefits Trust, and they look after our benefit plan. I was going, oh, and he says, oh, that's interesting. He goes, you guys have the best app. Like, he just came right out of the blue. He didn't know what I did at the Benefits Trust. He just goes, you guys have the best app. It is so easy to use. As simple as that. You download the app on your smartphone. You take a picture of a claim. You press submit. You're going to get an email that says, hey, terrific. We've received your claim. Thank you very much. And then you're going to get an email that says, hey, terrific. We've adjudicated your claim and your money's in your bank account. Simple as that. It works. It worked extraordinarily well. Thousands upon thousands of users, and it's just neat and clean. The result of all of this, whether it be the people answering the phones, whether it be the reports that we give on a monthly basis, the plug and play approach, the result is a happier client. They've got a plan design that works for their organization. They know exactly what's going on, and client service is there. The result is a happier client. And the happier the client is from your end as well, the more profitable it is. You've got thin files as opposed to thick files. Thin files means you've got the right plan design in place. The plan is working extraordinarily well with respect to their budget. And they see exactly where their costs are. They've got the appropriate protection in place. And the result is that happy client. So they've got that thin file as opposed to problem, thick file. It's a very simple process. Custom benefit plan design, or custom design benefit plan, custom design benefit plan. You set up a benefit plan that works for the client. It's their benefit plan. It's their promise. Instead of having that one size fits all promise, no, let's make it about them and let's make it about their future. So you got a custom design benefit plan. Then you've got the appropriate insurance placed to protect the integrity of the promise. So you got that appropriate insurance from various insurance suppliers to protect the integrity of that promise. Then you take that and you add responsible budgeting to it. Not aggressive or too conservative, but responsible budgeting. You're dealing with successful business owners. They're used to responsible budgeting. We've got budgeting process in our business all the time, and I look at it every single month. I'm going to be looking at it in just 2.5 weeks or a week and a half from now when December 1st comes along. I look at our budget and I look at our revenues. I look at everything every single month. So it's responsible budgeting. Then we add on top of that superior administration and service solution that makes sense in their organization. We interact with members and we interact with the end user clients, and we interact with you, the broker, from a superior administration and service solution perspective. It's making sure that you get what you want, making sure that the administrator or the client gets what they want, making sure that the executive contact gets what they want at the end user client, and making sure the members get what they want. Benefits are emotional. We need that superior administration and service solution in place. We help successful business owners build a better benefit plan than they can get anywhere else. It's as simple as that. So if you're interested in working with a company that helps successful business owners build a better benefit plan, that's what it is that we do here at the Benefits Trust. We keep promises that matter to employees. Again, a benefit plan is nothing more than a promise between an employer and an employee. So we've spent 50 minutes together, just under an hour. We talked about ASO and a quick review versus a traditional benefit plan. And the only difference between budgeted ASO and a traditionally funded benefit plan is really the gap between the anticipated claims and the actual claims. And it's really, the gap is nothing more than timing. So it's important to note that as well. If a client has a short-term benefit plan outlook or a short-term outlook to their business, buy a fully insured solution. Someone's going to buy the business, buy the cheapest price you can get. If somebody's got a long-term outlook to their business and as a result of that have a long-term outlook to their benefit plan, an ASO solution is the way to go. We talked about the plug and play approach with the 25 odd different insurance and service providers we have for the pooled benefits. We talked about creative plan designs and the flexibility that comes into play where you can choose any type of plan design for different groups within the group. We delivered to you 3 case studies that were really unique in delivering solutions to clients. And we talked about our top-notch service and administration solutions. So it's been a fun hour that we spent together. So when we look into the future and you look into the 2018, there's Bill C-148 coming down the pipe. There's going to have a change to your clients and a change to your prospects as well. Make sure you're aware of what's going on with Bill 148. And if you're not aware of what's going on with Bill 148, a great seminar to attend is a week Wednesday. I guess it's a week today. CGIB, check out the CGIB website. Dave Patriarch is putting this webinar together, pardon me. And ironically, next week we're the sponsor of it. But that's not important. What's important is you attend this seminar. You can take your clients or prospects to it. Great value-added service. And it's something that you might be interested in participating in. So make sure you check that out. But when you're dealing in the future, you're going to be, or clients are going to be demanding value. It's as simple as that. So when you're dealing in the future, reach out to us and we can help you provide that value. We'd be happy to do business with you. For those that we are doing business with that are on the call today, we want to thank you very much for your continued business. And those that we're not doing business, we'd love the opportunity to. Give us a try. Kick our tires. Take us out for a drive around the block. It's as simple as that. We'd love to work with you. We've been doing this for many years, and we're going to continue to do it for many more years to come. We're excited about the future. We're excited about the future and benefits, and we're looking forward to that future. This is the final webinar that we're going to be doing this year in 2017. So I know many of you have participated in a number of these webinars. So thank you very much for your participation. Check our website out at thebenefitstrust.com. We are going to be announcing a new webinar series for 2018 shortly with some new subjects. In addition to that, you will be receiving a CE certificate for attending today. You will be receiving a very short questionnaire. And we need your feedback on how we can do things better today than we did them yesterday. We want to talk about, we want you to fill in subjects that we want to see covered in future webinars. Put a couple of quick notes down, and we'd be happy to do that. Mike Ignatz and I, or either of us, would be happy to come out to your office if you've got more than 10 people or 8 or 10 people in your organization, and we can do a lunch and learn type of thing, or throw some coffees and muffins down on the table as well, and spend an hour together and give you CE credits for participating as well. We'd be happy to come to your office and do so. You're going to get signed up for our Trusted Advisor newsletter. If you don't get that already, it comes out once a month. Lots of valuable information. Most importantly, we're excited about the future, and we're excited about the future and benefits, and there's not a better time to sell group insurance than right now here in the province of Ontario. Endless amount of prospects, and you know what? Prospects are dying for value. They're buying for value-added services. A blank canvas in front of them, help with somebody that is able to ask future-based questions and helping them design a benefit plan that makes sense in their organization is nothing but just a way to print money. So we want to thank you very much for your time, and we wish you much success in the remainder of 2017, and we look forward to you attending future webinars in 2018. Check out thebenefitstrust.com. Lots of fun going on, and we wish you nothing but success. Bye for now.